Greetings, one and all, and welcome back to Meerkat Musings, the Meerkat Musings YouTube channel, of course, with your host Ben, aka Daft Timon. I bring to you, as the title says, some random thoughts and feelings on a somewhat grey March afternoon. It's fair to say that March has not really brought a significant uptick in the UK's weather conditions. Then again, it was never truly expected to be fair. It's not been terrible weather in March. There have been one or two incredibly rainy days. As a matter of fact, the day prior to recording this video, it was pretty much a non-stop downpour from start to finish, and it's just kind of almost surreal to get that much rain in one go. Well, I say surreal, it's actually not that surreal if you live in the UK. You know, we just kind of expect rain at any point of the year. We often like to say that we look forward to summertime because the rain's warm, and that's not always too far from the truth. Although, with a bit of luck, we will have a nice summer. And I think because it seems to me that, you know, cold weather seems to last forever in this country, I think we are owed a nice summer. We shall see, of course. Who knows what we will get. But I'll keep all my fingers crossed. Every last appendage that I can cross, I will cross in the hopes of better conditions ahead. But in the absence of that, I will enjoy a nice fluffy cappuccino, and I will indulge in various other hot drinks until such a time that I can break out the cold drinks. Coffee is one of my vices. I have no shame in admitting that. I do love a nice coffee. There's something to be said for the kind of coffee that you can make through one of those filtery things at home. But then again, equally, there's something to be said if you nail an absolutely perfect cup of any sort of coffee. It's probably fair to say it almost feels like a warm embrace touching your soul, and it can just really, it's indescribable sometimes how it can just revitalize you. Unfortunately for me, I dare say that I overindulge in the stuff a little bit too much sometimes. And I know that, but I love the stuff too much, really. Occasionally I'll have tea, particularly when I'm at home in the evenings. I am more inclined to have a cup of tea. But I am, as I get older, becoming more and more of a coffee drinker and less of a tea drinker. I don't know exactly how or why that came about, but it's just a thing that I have done over the course of time, and I don't foresee that changing anytime soon. I am hopeful that I'll be going to a place over the summer where I can try what's meant to be some of the best coffees going, but we shall see what they have to offer, because it might not be as good as I think, but we shall see. So March has been a fairly busy month for me so far in terms of work. It's actually been quite a successful month for me in terms of work, I dare say. I have had quite a few good orders go through the books, with more kind of in the wind, so to speak. There is the potential for additional sales. I have a lot coming up at the end of the month that I need to try and organise for, but that's more for family reasons. And then I shall kick off into April, hopefully in the same vein that March has seen so far in terms of work. When I refer to work, I'm sometimes tempted to make it clear that I, in one sense, kind of have two jobs, although really I don't. I have my job, which is to sell bathrooms, but I also have my I guess you might call it my side job or my dream job. I don't know. I have, as you may be aware, recently published my second book, Fontana and Istalor, and I've had a couple of sales already. I've had a glowing review already, for which I'm very, very grateful for. And with the imminent return of our previously faulty laptop, I will have the opportunity to steam ahead with the sequel to The Awakening. And I have plotted my course now for the sequel. I don't tend to actually do that with any kind of specific detail. I wouldn't go as far as to say that I wing it, because in the back of my mind I have a vague idea as to where I'm going. But this is the first time I've actually written down plot points and what I would like to do to get from where I am right through to the end of the sequel. So I kind of, as I say, I now have this image in my head as to where I want to go, what I want to do, and we'll carry that through. And then from there, I need to focus on something that my daughter wants me to do, which is a story about dragons. But I've got to confess, I'm not really sure if I can do that justice. I don't know if I can pull that off in the way that my daughter thinks I can. And then, beyond all of that, I also need to think about the final part of the, for lack of a better word, the Awakening trilogy, and a follow-up to Fontana and Istalor. So the writing side of things, I have a lot to kind of think about. And through all of that, of course, I also have to think about my regular day job, which is the one that pays all the bills. So plenty to think about, plenty to do, and plenty of family stuff coming up that will kind of rightfully be a focus of my attention as well. It's kind of crazy, but we've had I wouldn't say a hectic March thus far, but one of the things that we have done recently is go to a cat cafe in Southend, and it was actually a very nice day. That was actually a Saturday where the weather really truly held up quite nicely, and it was an enjoyable experience, as it always is. But the thing about the experience is that it was also a very long day with a lot of walking around and dipping into shops and arcades. And I've got to confess, I was probably ready to head home about 2 hours before we actually did. But when you're with family, you don't necessarily operate to your own personal timescale. You have to make allowances, of course, for other people. And generally speaking, I'd like to think that I'm quite reasonable with that kind of thing. I do as well, however, try to be mindful that sometimes you need to take a bit of time for yourself. So you take the time to indulge in something that you enjoy, such as pizza. I had a lovely pepperoni pizza the other day, and that was something that my wife brought out of, it was either Iceland or Asda, and it was lovely. I mean, you can get lovely pizzas as takeaways, and we did that recently, and I enjoyed that as well. But there's something to be said for the simplicity of a shop-bought pepperoni pizza. They're actually, I think, very, very nice, and I can't complain. So, you have to make a little bit of time for yourself, for your own reasons. Otherwise, you'll quite frankly burn yourself out. And part of this making time has been also knowing how not to waste one's time, which is why I've been trying very, very hard to move away from a couple of, shall we say, negative influences in particularly in the blogging sphere, shall we say. It's often tempting to correct the record when you see certain people say things, particularly when they say things that invoke your words. And, I know for an absolute fact that some people will take what I have said or what friends of mine have said and frame them in the completely wrong context. And it's aggravating and it's frustrating, but I have come to realise that you can correct the record, you can even correct the record with evidence over and over and over and over and over again. And it will make absolutely no difference whatsoever to certain people and certain parties. And with that in mind, what's the point? You know, if you keep hitting a brick wall in the expectation that the brick wall will somehow change its opinions, then you'll be there forever. And there's no point or purpose to that. So, you know, I have tried my best to kind of move away from that, as it were. It is tempting to indulge in some of these debates and discussions. I will confess that a part of me finds it enjoyable and stimulating. But there's also a part of me which does not want to get embroiled in a constant tit for tat, especially with someone or someones who are committed to not listening. There's a wall of ignorance with some people, and there's a set of behaviours with some people that you cannot reason with. There's a lot of hypocrisy there as well. And, you know, I think at this point, I think they know precisely what they're doing, and they know they're being hypocrites, and they know they're being deceptive as well, among other things, and they don't care. And you can't reason with someone like that. So you have to take a moment to breathe and to let go, basically, and just kind of move on. And that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to, blog about different things. And I've been maintaining, of course, my bi-weekly Meerkat Muse series, as it were, which I, generally speaking, rather enjoy writing. And I have been kind of making some very, very tentative steps with the sequel to Fontana and Istalor. However, the reality is, in my mind, I need to get the sequel to The Awakening done and off to the publisher before I can really work in earnest on anything else. And of course, as mentioned, my daughter wants me to write this dragon story, and to be fair, originally it was my suggestion that she has taken and ran with, but I'm not sure how to do it. I actually thought it was going to be something fairly original as well. It turns out that some form of this has already been done, but I'm thinking of something quite different to this original story. So we'll see what pans out with that. And I need to give it the attention it deserves. I haven't focused on it because, as I say, I've had other projects to think about. And, I have things to do beyond writing. I come home from work and I will want to do other things. When the laptop comes back, I'll probably indulge a bit in Football Manager because I enjoy that as much as it sometimes winds me up. But, as I say, there's more to it than being at work all day, going home and writing all night. There's other things that I need to think about and do for my own sake and for the sake of my loved ones as well. There's plans to go to a couple of places. There's a few occasions which are going to be very full-on, I think, in the not-so-distant future. And I need to get my head around all that and kind of brace myself, shall we say, for a lot of that sort of stuff. So that is where we're at, as it were. And with a bit of luck, I will have more news on writing progress as and when I do another video or podcast. But in the meantime, I'm going to wish you all well. I'm going to shamelessly plant links to my blog and books in the links to this video. And I hope that you check out my blog. I hope that you enjoy my blog, of course. You're always welcome to leave feedback and comments, as you are on these videos. Most of all, I hope you all take care of each other and that you have peaceful and relaxing days. With that in mind, I bid you all adieu. Thank you.